good, y'all? Welcome to my first impressions for Daredevil, Born Again, man. Woo! Feels good if I say that, man. We're finally here. Born Again is finally here, ladies and gentlemen. My God, did it not disappoint? I will not lie. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys know when I was watching the first episode, I was very angry at a particular thing that we'll get into the spoilers discussion about that. But then I saw some news literally right as I was watching the second episode that I'm like, okay then. So my opinion and stance on this definitely has softened. We'll obviously talk more about that in the spoiler discussion for this video. We'll talk more about that, and this probably deals with the whole thing of the episode, the show keeping like 6 episodes of the original version of the show when they initially started filming before the actors and writers strike, and then they revamped the entire show, and then they like rewrote scripts and whatnot, but they kept like 6 episodes that they already had filmed completely by that point. Anyway, so we'll talk more about that, probably why it is the way it is. But yeah, man, these first 2 episodes were absolutely fucking brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant television, man. And I would probably put this about on par with the Netflix series. Like, I wouldn't say like it's as good as the Netflix or better than the Netflix. It's like around the similar quality. We gotta obviously wait for the first season's over, and then we also got a second season as well, which, as you guys remember, the show was originally announced to be 18 episodes long. I believe so anyway, it was gonna be 18 episodes. But I guess when they revamped the show and everything, they decided to split the 18 episodes into two seasons. Season 1 is going to be, I believe about 8 episodes, while Season 2 is going to be about 9 episodes. So the 18 episodes, the original 18 episode count we got is going to get split up into 2 seasons. Seriously, this was incredible, man. I obviously have some flaws to this thing, some things that they definitely changed from the Netflix version that I'm not sure fond of. But there's a lot of that DNA of the Netflix series in these episodes, and there is definitely glimpses of its brilliance in here, man. And one sequence in episode 1, in particular, that really that was Netflix. Well, 2 in the first episode, to be fair. There's 2 parts in that one. In the first episode where, I get where it does feel like the Netflix series. But anyway, guys, I have rambled on long enough, so let's just jump right in. So the show stars, of course, Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, John Bernthal, Wilson Pethel, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Deborah, Jesus Christ, I can't fucking read, Deborah Ann Wall, if I pronounce that right, and many more. And the plot of Daredevil Born Again, Matt Murdock finds himself in a collision course with Wilson Fisk when their past identities begin to emerge. Now, first of all, obviously we gotta talk about the cast, man. Obviously, Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox are fucking brilliant as always, man. They are, as the bits of what we got to see from Eden and Deborah, obviously Foggy and Karen, man, is amazing. The chemistry between them, it's like they never left, man. It's like we never left from season 3, and there wasn't like a 5+ year gap. I forget the exact, 8-year gap or whatever, how long it's been since Daredevil season 3, man. They were just right back at it like they never left, man. We haven't seen anything from the Punisher yet in these first 2 episodes, man. We've seen bits of it in the trailers, but nothing official yet, man. But yeah, man, this show is just, the cast is fantastic. We also get a bunch of new characters as well that I'm really interested in. Like with some of the guys that Wilson Fisk has around, like in his cabinet, his team. That guy is like, there's this one kid that's obviously very young and very Gen Z, if you want to say. He's very much into social media, doing all the social media stuff, and just some of the stuff he's like, Wilson Fisk is trending hard, and just some of the other shit he says, man. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, who the fuck is this kid? You know what I mean, man? But yeah, we got him. We got, of course, Vanessa as well. Once again, played by Alette Zure, if I'm pronouncing her name right, who you guys, of course, played in the Netflix series. You guys may remember that when this show was originally first announced and they first started filming, someone else was going to play Vanessa, but I guess when they revamped, they got her back. Because I forgot that they tweeted. I was watching, wait, isn't she the same actress that played her? And I was like, wait, didn't they switch her when they announced the show? But I guess they switched back and got the original actress back when they actually got started filming. They redid it after they revamped the show. But she's great, man. And I'm interested in what they do with Vanessa. And one thing I was a little iffy with this show from the first episodes anyway was like, was they're going to mention season 3? Because you guys remember in season 3 the whole thing ended with Daredevil's like trying to say like he can never see Vanessa again, keeping them separated. And from what we saw from the trailers in the first episode, it looked like they weren't even going to really mention it or follow up on anything that happens and explain how Wilson and Vanessa are back together again, considering the end of Daredevil Season 3. Thankfully, around the end of Episode 2, which we'll talk more about that in the spoiler discussion, they do kind of at least mention what happened in some way. I don't know if we're going to ever get like a full explanation of what happened. We'll get like some flashbacks that take us between Season 3 and Born Again that explains how they got back together fully, but they at least mention what happened and like some of the immediate aftermath that did happen from that. Which I was happy to see, man. I gotta say, I still don't like Bullseye's costume, because you guys remember I mentioned this. I believe I probably mentioned this. I definitely mentioned this on Twitter when the set photos first leaked from when the show resumed filming, and we saw Bullseye in there in the costume and everything. Man, I might have mentioned this when I was also doing the trailers as well. But I am not a fan of the Bullseye costume yet. They're obviously meant to mimic the look that he had in Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run during like the one of his first major arc when Hell's Kitchen was on fire. Like I think like the villains were running rampant and Wilson Fisk and Daredevil were actually having to team up together to face off against the villains. I think they were like with the Thunderbolts, or it might have been before the whole thing with Devil's Reign, the Thunderbolts and everything. Man, I could be wrong. Then I might be remembering his run, but it was around that time frame, man. And that costume I loved. But this one, yeah, I was kind of wondering, maybe when we see the actual show, it'll look better. Not really, man. I still really like the look of him, man, just because it takes that tactical look, but gets rid of all of the Bullseye iconography. Like it's purple instead of black. You don't get the Bullseye on his mask and like his forehead on his mask, man. Like I do not like it. Hopefully when we see Bullseye again, maybe later on in season 1, if we see, because we do obviously see more footage in the trailer we haven't seen already from the first 2 episodes. So hopefully we might see him again, and maybe then he'll finally, or maybe in season 2, we'll then see him finally in a true Bullseye costume where he actually looks like Bullseye. We'll have to wait and see on that, man. But yeah, it was great to see him. But it was great to see him there as well. First of all, I gotta talk about the fight choreography is once again fantastic. I do have some critiques from what we saw in the first episode. There was definitely some use of CGI that I was not too fan of that looked kind of bad. I wouldn't say looked bad, but you could definitely notice and know that you were looking at CGI, which is a little unfortunate. Especially considering, we do get a one take action sequence, which I was obviously happy to see, man. And it's pretty long too, really long, man. But the weird thing about it is this takes place inside the bar that we obviously went where all the set photos we saw that lead between Matt and Daredevil was all from the first episode, which I was kind of shocked by. That all what we saw was literally the first episode when the set photos came out. Kind of makes me wonder how something else happened first didn't leak with them, but maybe they filmed at a different location or completely blocked out the blocks of the area that they were filming at to make sure no one could get cameras on what was happening and leak this online, months before the show came out or whatnot, man. So, fair enough. But the weird part is, when they fight inside the bar, and it's very obviously they are digital doubles. Now, the weird part is, we know they filmed there on location. There's set photos and set videos showing that they were fighting, or at least inside that bar, fighting. They were in there physically on set fighting. I don't know why they switched to digital doubles, and it's very obvious that you can see the digital doubles. Because I was looking, what does this look like? Why are they CG? Everything else is live action. Everything else I'm sure was filmed on set. It's just Matt and Bullseye that are CG. They're digital doubles, and I don't know why. I don't know if there was something wrong. They weren't happy with how it looked on set. So they switched to digital doubles, which looked even worse compared to probably what they filmed on set. Not exactly sure why they switched there, man. To be fair, then once they leave the bar and they start going upstairs to the room, which we also saw bits of that, post on social media, clips of it to build more hype. When they actually, you could tell that it's definitely them. They filmed it on set. All this was done perfectly on set, where the fight definitely gets back on its feet, man, and it looks amazing. I love that they filmed that they once again keep that same, realism to it, like Daredevil had, where you see both Matt and Bullseye are very out of breath, slowly dragging themselves up the stairs till they reach the roof, man. You also finally get to see Matt flying around on using his bully club to like grapple across the city, like we obviously see in the comics, which we never really saw in the Netflix, probably due to budget constraints. Which you can once again you can tell it's CG. I still think it looked pretty good all these together. I might argue that Daredevil 3 might have looked better doing this. I'm not too sure because I would have to go back and rewatch it, know for sure. But like, there was definitely had a bit more. The Daredevil 3 definitely had a bit more gravitas, a bit more style, a bit more sauce, if you will, to that compared to what we saw from Born Again the first episode. But overall, I think definitely that CGI definitely looked a bit better than what we saw from the digital doubles between Bullseye and Bullseye and Daredevil fighting. Once again, I do not know why they switched to digital doubles for that when they definitely filmed it on set, but whatever the case may be, you know that. The rest of the fight, like I said, did look really good though. It's just like one bar when they're actually filming in the bar, when they're actually inside the bar itself, and like people are leaving, you got smoke bombs going on there, man, where it just looked off, man. It did not look good. It did not look good at all, man. Anyway, action, and which we see in the second episode as well. Action's phenomenal, man. It looks absolutely fantastic. The music is also really good, man. Obviously, they reuse the Daredevil theme a couple times. But some of the new tracks we hear from the soundtrack, man, as well as some like the inserts that they put in there are really good, man. The intro is phenomenal, man. I would say that I definitely liked the original Daredevil intro a bit more than this one, man. I would say it had a bit more sauce, with a bit more style to it. But this one, look, it's phenomenal in its own right, man. I would say it's about on par, if not like I said, on par to a little below the Netflix. But once again, they're both phenomenal in their own rights, man. And I have no complaints there, man. I love the scene in the diner between Fisk and Mac, man, which obviously we saw all over the trailers. They like showed off a clip of it on Twitter and social media in the lead up to the show's release, man. And it's just a brilliant sequence, man. Just watching Wilson, Fisk, and Matt just talking to each other in the diner, man. It's perfection. Literal cinema. It's cinematic perfection, man. We also of course get some scenes within the courtroom, man. There's this one that we see in the first episode that I won't get too deep into spoilers, man. That is just pure Netflix Daredevil, man. It has all the rawness of the Netflix Daredevil one. Matt is Charlie's on his A game, man. Deborah is incredible, man, as Karen. It's just a brilliant scene, man. I was like, okay, well, because it was like right after the bullshit happened, I'm like, nah, I'm like, okay. We might be getting somewhere, man. Hold on. They might be like saving this, but they might be saving this. I also love Daredevil's costume. I like the red's way more prominent compared to what we saw on Netflix. So like I said, I wasn't too big on what Bullseye's out when we saw the set photos of that one, but I love Daredevil's the first time I saw it, and it looks amazing in the show as well. I love how bright and red it is, and how vibrant the red is, man. Well, the Netflix shows, it definitely had a bit more muted colors with the red and a bit more black. This one is mostly red, and it looks amazing. The cinematography is also phenomenal, man. This is probably the best looking Marvel thing since probably Guardians 3, if not even further behind that, man. Because, like, you guys know, one thing that definitely common criticism levied against MCU films is that they just don't look good, like in terms of cinematography. Like the cinematography, a lot of their films are just basic, and they all look the same, and there's just like no style or substitute. Especially when you compare them to DC's outfit, which like, say what you will about DC and like, before when they were doing the DCU thing before now with James Gunn running, but at least a lot of their movies actually looked good, had some style to it. You had Zack Snyder, you had James Gunn, of course, doing his thing with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. You had, of course, James Wan with the Aquaman movies that also looked amazing as well, man. You had the Joker movies, which also looked incredible, man. So, like, a lot of their films, even DC's films, even when they didn't really know what they were doing, the Batman, of course, as well, all of them were absolutely breathtaking films, and had such great, amazing cinematography, and they actually look different. While with Marvel, they've always kind of looked the same. This year, seems like Marvel's output is definitely they've actually finally started to let their cinematographers actually do shit and actually get creative, because you guys remember my review of Captain America and Brave New World? I mentioned how the cinematography for that was actually really good. There were some really nice shots in that movie, man. This show looks incredible. Like, we also got the shot of Daredevil dropping his mask down the rooftop, which you saw in the trailers, man. And when we see the full version of the show, man, oh my god, it looks incredible, man. Where like it's like all where the background's all faded out black, and then the background fades in as we see the mask fall down, man, with one of the horns missing. Looks incredible, man. I love they even do an aspect ratio change in the start of the first episode when Matt and Karen are in this bar talking, and Foggy had to go out to take a call, man, and then Matt starts listening in. The aspect ratio increases. It feels screaming. You guys, I'm a sucker for that shit. I love when movies or shows do an aspect ratio change. I don't know if they actually filmed that with IMAX cameras cameras or not, but it looked amazing, man. It didn't last for long. The rest of the show was kind of filmed in a normal, like, widescreen 16:9 aspect ratio, but it was nice they did that, man. You guys know I'm a sucker for that. You guys know I'm a sucker for, you know, aspect ratio changes. And I'm so happy to see the show was actually filmed on location in New York City, because you guys know Marvel nowadays, everything is either like done via green screen with the volume or is just filmed in Georgia. And I love that this show is actually filmed on location in New York City, and you can feel it, man. There's actual extras on set, man. It feels like New York. It definitely has that same feel that Netflix shows have, and it actually feels like New York. I think High Top himself tweeted this. This is the most New York feeling thing we've seen from the MCU in quite a while, man. And I'm just so happy that this is actually filmed on location in New York, and you could tell, man, the show looks amazing. I'm glad there's actually extras there, man. So everything being green screen, everything, man. There's actual extras in the background, man. It just makes the show just look all the more better, just makes it look and feel all the more real, man. It feels like the Netflix show. So I'm really happy to see that, man. And yeah, it's incredible, man. I love what we saw from this video, man. And yeah, so enough. I've gushed about this long enough. Let's get into the negatives, the things I didn't like, which I've already mentioned some of them already. But one thing I really mentioned, like something happens in the first episode that pissed me off, man. That wasn't too fun, but then again, my stance is definitely something that could consider the news that just got confirmed literally while I was going through episode 1. I don't like Bullseye's costume, man. I don't like the digital doubles they were used for the first 5 minutes, though it isn't, though I like how it was shot. Like, we see them fighting the bar, then we kind of go behind the glass, we see them as silhouettes before they come through, like the glass where they will show them silhouettes, and they're like slowly dragging themselves up the stairs, and like High Top did mention how if the fight felt weightless. I will definitely agree that the digital dub parts felt weightless, but once they're actually like, yo, it's actually filmed on, when it's actually them filmed, you know, it's actually them what they filmed on set instead of, you know, switching to digital doubles for somebody, you know, they filmed this on set. Like, and you see them dragging themselves tiredly up the stairs, man, while they continue fighting. Bullseye's like throwing shit at them, which was really cool. Like, I like how creative like Bullseye uses like pool balls to like throw at like random civilians and Daredevil himself, along with like his with his throwing knives he has there, man. They get to the rooftop as well. That whole sequence was done really well, man, when they were actually on the rooftop. Charles' performance is once again incredible, man. Just a phenomenal sequence. It's just that opening bit with the digital doubles I didn't like, but the rest of the time looked absolutely incredible, man. And like I said, I really like Daredevil's costume. And yeah, that's about everything I could talk about without getting into spoilers, guys. So, as usual, you guys do not want to get spoiled. Leave now, watch the first 2 episodes, and then come back here and watch the rest of this, man. But anyway, guys, over my final verdict for these first 2 episodes is going to be a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as always, like I said, we're getting the spoilers question right now, so you guys do not want to get spoiled. Leave now. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Foggy dies, man. This, as you guys may saw if you guys follow me on Twitter, pissed me off. I was so annoyed, so angry at this. I'm like, you motherfuckers deceived us. You made this whole song and dance about Foggy and Karen being back in the show, man, after they were originally going to be completely omitted from the show when it first began filming, you know, before the actors strike and everything, man. You bring them back and then you kill off Foggy in the first episode. Now, to be fair, most people kind of figured this out, especially after that clip had released of Daredevil and Bullseye's fight. A lot of people were picking up, like I saw Marcelo, I think his name was, a Brown Table, mentioned like he was predicting, like that was his big prediction, that Foggy was going to die, you know, in the first episode. That was the big prediction. Like I said, I don't know how, I'm surprised they were able to like get that from leaking. Like, I assume that they probably filmed that part on a soundstage or something, or maybe they like completely secured off this whole area that they were filming at to make sure that no leaks got through, man. But I'm assuming they probably filmed that like a soundstage or with the volume or something, to keep the spoilers from coming out, because like I said, it was all done in that one location, which we did see set photos of. So, like, some guys are surprised that that part also didn't leak with it, man. But I'm sure Marvel has their ways to make sure that nothing did. But whatever the case may be, I was really angry for that. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I was like losing my goddamn mind about this. Like, they made this whole Thawne dance and they just kill off Thawne in the first episode. Now, I wasn't gonna be like one of those people that just throws a hissy fit, like, fuck this show, I'm done watching, like, exit the show, man, not watch the rest of the episode in the second episode, because like there's still cool shit I was looking forward to. So I was like, maybe they can make this work. Or I thought, oh, this must be a fake out. You know, they're gonna be like, oh, he's mortally wounded, he's in a coma or something, and then he was just gonna be out of it for the rest of the show, and then maybe at the end of the season, that's when Foggy returns. But no, they fast forward, we get a year-long time skip, and it's confirmed that Foggy is fucking dead. that is when my blood really went to a boil, man. I'm like, you motherfuckers. You motherfuckers. I was so pissed off, man, when I saw that, man. But literally, as I mentioned before earlier on the video, I got a notification. I saw a tweet while I was live tweeting the show, and I saw a tweet saying that they're confirming that both Foggy and Karen are going to be returning in season 2 of Born Again. Now, obviously, this begs the question: how the fuck does Foggy come back? He's dead. It's been a year. I'm assuming they've already buried his corpse by now. So how does he revive him? Well, how does he, is brought back from the dead? We don't know. Does he call up Doctor Strange and use a time stone on him or something to bring him back to life? Who knows? we'll have to wait and see on that. Maybe season 1 will give us an explanation of him faking his death or something, or some of the reason why how Foggy ended up surviving getting shot by Bullseye. But we'll wait and see. I'm just happy to know that Foggy is still alive, and we will see him in season 2 along with Karen. Like I said, this was probably due to them keeping the first 6 episodes, that they were filmed from the original shooting process before they revamped the show. We also found out that Karen has been moved to San Francisco. Once again, I'm sure that's right. They wrote her off the show, probably for that same reason, man. But I love that sequence they do in the courtroom, man, when they are doing the trial of Bullseye, man. It has all the rawness from the Netflix show, man, as Matt is making his speech about how there won't be any justice because Foggy isn't going to be around, and the way he's jittering, fidgeting, moving his hand around when he's waiting for the verdict, man. And then the conversation between Karen and Matt, man, oh my god, it was just brimming with the same rawness that we saw in the Netflix series. Them trying to have a conversation, but obviously, Foggy's death is still weighing heavily on them, man. They don't really know how to communicate all that well. They don't want to get in a fight, but they start arguing anyway, man. It's just such a brilliant scene, man. Such a brilliant sequence. And she also gives him back the hoard of the hat of his helmet that got cut off that we saw in the trust. We never actually see how it got cut off, man. I mean, at least I wasn't paying attention. Maybe if I went back and rewatched the fight, I could probably notice when the horn got cut off, man. It was probably due to Bullseye's, knives that probably just sliced it off or whatever. But yeah, that was such an incredible sequence, man. We got that, man. We also see that Ben Urchin's his niece is actually still around, man. She has her own news, she has her own news, channel or thing going on there, man, where it's called BB Report, I believe it's called, or something like that, man. And if you guys follow my Twitter, I picked up on something that was on the slate where it said BB Urchins, and I was like, huh, BB Urchins, Ben Urchin, who you guys know died in season 1. Which kind of crazy. They killed off a major a major Daredevil character in the first season, but then again they also did it with Wesley as well. They were just killing a major Daredevil character in the first season because fucking why not? It's kind of crazy, man. But anyway, so I was like, is Ben Urchin still alive? Who is this person? What is this BB Report thing going on? And we find out that's actually his niece, and it seems like she's suspicious that she knows that Wilson Fisk killed her uncle, and because they have this whole conversation going on. He's like, yes, I knew him, and it's just such a great sequence, man. Hopefully we see more of her, man, because I'm really interested to see what they got. And I kind of like that her thing is going on where the news report she does with the B-roll we get in New York when they're she's interviewing citizens about what they think about Wilson Fisk, man. I love the scene when we see Wilson Fisk giving his first address, man. We see it in Times Square. There's people all around, man. It looked amazing. But that sequence really got me excited. I'm hoping we get to see more of his niece and see where she goes, man. If she also helps, expose Wilson Fisk that he's still a criminal and everything, man. I'm really excited to see what that sequence. And that's not the only sequence from Wilson Fisk and Mayor that was a highlight of the episode, which I believe all this was in episode 2. Where we also got the police commander, the police commissioner in there, man. He sees right through Wilson Fisk. He's not there to welcome with open arms. His thing is he mentioned my goal is going to be to get you out of office under a month, because the previous the quickest mayor was out of office was a month. That's the shortest time frame. He wanted to make sure he get him under a month. And so we get this whole sequence, man, where he brings them into the mayor's office, man. Fisk goes off about cheesesteaks in Philly. He talks about what their favorite locations was. He names this one location, which I do quite a question if it's a legit cheesesteak restaurant in Philly or right outside the city, as he mentioned it, man. Then you can buy them. If it is, they definitely got a shit ton of extra business just from this one episode. And then he like revealed, then he mentions it, man. He pulls up the wrapper to show where it's from, and then we see a photo underneath it showing his wife and his son, who I guess he kept hidden for whatever reason, and just basically blackmails him to keep him as commissioner, and says, "You want where it says like no, I think it was like no extended training on the cadets, man, no mandatory, no overtime, and there was like I think it was also like a raise for cost, man. All three of his like requests were denied. And he just tells him fuck, and he's just like fine, I'll stay there, man. So I was like, there he is, there's the Kingpin, man, which was such an incredible sequence, man. I love that scene, man. That was one of my favorite parts of the second episode. Another thing I loved was we also, like I said, mentioned before, we mentioned now we get to see Vanessa again, man. We see what she's doing. She is seemingly taking over Wilson Fisk's criminal empire, but made it legit, going because he's obviously running for mayor. He doesn't want anything, he doesn't want any sort of paper trail or loose ends that could lead him back to him being a criminal, that he's still doing some criminal activities, man. So Vanessa's taken over, man, and she took over the business in the time when they were separated after Daredevil C3, which I mentioned in couples therapy, and we find out that their therapist is the new chick that Matt is dating, who he was met with, or set up with, like his other lawyer, because he's now partnered with another lawyer, has a new firm, man. He's living outside of Hell's Kitchen, man. It looks great, man. I dig the logo, and yeah. So, like, which really got me interested where that's gonna go about them. Not only with Wilson and Vanessa doing couples therapy, but with the therapist being Matt's, like, I guess you could say, current girlfriend now. So that's obviously going to lead to some shit, man. And I'm excited to see where that goes, man. I'm also curious to see what this couples therapy. So from what we saw from the second episode, man, is amazing. Wilson mentions how he doesn't want to lose his wife. Vanessa, like I said, talks about them being separated after Daredevil season 3, and she took over the business and everything, and everything's prospering, man. I'm really excited to see where this goes in future episodes, man. We also get to see some corrupt cops beat up some guy who, White Tiger comes in there, who, I swear to God, the actor that's playing him in this is different than when we saw the trailers, because I know for a fact, in the trailers, he is played, or maybe I'm just the one going insane, man, was played by the same actor that played the Master Chief in the Halo series. I could have sworn, like, some of the trailers we saw, it was him. Maybe they just look similar, and I'm just a dumbass, and I thought it was him, but it actually wasn't him. So I don't know if he switches identity, because you guys remember, White Tiger, at least I know White Tiger is a woman. So where does that go, man? Are we going to see the female White Tiger in this show sometime down the line? Does someone else take the mantle because he's like in this murder case because he accidentally killed the cop because they were beating and some mugging, beating some random guy. He intervened to separate them and get him off of him, man. And then during the scuffle, man, he accidentally ends up throwing a cop out onto the railing where the trains come through, and literally right as he throw him, a train comes right there and just runs him over, man. Just make contact with the train, man. It was pretty shocking. I was like, oh shit. So now he's in this murder case, man, and your Matt's trying to save him. So anyway, he goes over to the witness's place. He gets him out there, man, with having his detective guy or whatever. Get him out there, get him to safety, man. While the corrupt cops are going to go there to kill him. So there's no trace, there's no loose ends left, so that they can convict the guy with multiple life sentences and be done with it. And so during the whole season, when you saw bits of this in the trailer, we do see they actually have, or at least one of them does have, a Punisher tattoo. Now, I do remember there being some news reports that they were going to take some cops and idolize the Punisher, which you guys know is kind of based on reality because there are a lot of law enforcement guys and military guys that love the Punisher, man. He's big into those communities, man, which John Berthel mentioned, I think it was the first time once he was announced as that year's Comic-Con that he knew the significance of the role to those two communities and wanted to make sure he did right by them with his portrayal of the Punisher. So you got that, and you guys remember in Matthew Rosenberg's run of the Punisher, which I'm pretty sure this is where they're directly lifting this from, we see some cops actually having Punisher stickers on their car, and Frank rips up saying do not, you are not me, you swore an oath, do not, you swore an oath, I didn't, do not idolize me, or whatever the case may be, which is a pretty cool sequence, man. So I'm sure that's what that's based off of, man. Shout out to Matthew Rosenberg, Chips because they're obviously basing a lot of this show off of those two runs. Which, hey, good for me because those the first two runs I started reading. When you guys remember, I was doing when I was reacting to Punisher and Daredevil back when I first started doing the comic. I as well as those 2 runs. So shout out to them. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go, man. Obviously, when Frank finally makes his appearance, man, I'm excited for that. Spidey also gets a reference in the 2nd episode, which we did already know about. There was like, I think like either Vincent D'Onofrio said it himself in an interview or something, that Spidey does get like a mention in the show, man, which is pretty hyped to see, man. Now they did confirm that Spidey isn't going to make a cameo appearance in the show. Who knows? They could be lying, and then we might get him anyway, but I doubt it. But man, I would love to see Spidey show up in the show in some catch. We get to see Daredevil and Spider-Man 4. Though it doesn't look like we're going to get that, because Spider-Man 4 looks like it's going to be more multiversal adventures with Andrew and Tobey, which I'm not entirely against, but at the same time, I was kind of hoping we get that street-level Spidey movie, college movie, where we get Daredevil, Punisher, and Kingpin all making cameos, or having be major supporting roles in the movie, man, which we could get them, and all these reports about this being more multiversal adventures with Tobey and Andrew could be complete bullshit. We'll have to wait and see when the show, when we start actually filming and we get like set photos or whatnot in the trailer. But yeah, so that was pretty cool that Spidey got a mention from Kingpin when he talks about how he's gonna like outlaw vigilantes and all that, which is also ripped from Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run, because he did the Cosmere fits that there as well. But yeah, that's about everything I can talk about, man, that I can think of to talk about, that I want to talk about in these 2 episodes, man. Obviously, I'm excited, man. I've rambled along with this video, probably over 30 minutes by this point, and yeah. I'm excited for the rest of Born Again, man. Like usual, I'll be here reviewing you when the show's over, man. And yeah, it's just good to have Daryl back. Hopefully, you know, Iron Fist and Jessica Jones, Luke Cage won't be far behind. You guys know I mentioned, like, maybe we can see, like I said, I would love to see Iron Fist and Colleen Wing get reintroduced in Shang-Chi 2. Maybe have Luke Cage pop up in Black Panther 3 or something, you know, and also, of course, have Misty 9 there as well. We'll have to wait and see on that, man. I would love to see where that goes, man. Hopefully the rest of the Defenders are not far behind, man. Especially Iron Fist and Luke Cage. I want some more of Iron Fist. You know, hopefully we can see him in Shang-Chi 2 when we will see Danny Rand and Colleen once again return. Because you guys remember, I forget the actress's name. She denied having a role. She was offered a part in Shang-Chi, but turned it down because she wasn't done with Colleen. And boy, did that pay off, because obviously now the Defenders are now officially canon to the MCU. So hopefully we'll get to see her in Shang-Chi 2. That's like the one thing I want to see in Shang-Chi 2, and I'm hoping for, is that we get to see Iron Fist and Colleen in there. But we'll have to wait and see on that, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I've rambled on long enough. Anyway, guys, as always, leave your thoughts below in the comments, guys. What you guys thought of Born Again's first 2 episodes, man. Your thoughts, your theories, all that jazz, man. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social if you feel like it. Link subscribe box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.